Namato Ratanatayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello, good evening everyone. So today is Saturday the 10th of October in 2020. This is Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. As usual, I'm here with you. Hello Sarala, hello Manish, and everyone. So today is again a very miserable day with a different types of the weather. Early morning it was lovely, no wind, no rain in Aberdeen, and suddenly there is a rain, heavy rain, and stopped, and again a raining and heavy wind. So weather changes rapidly these days, and getting more colder and more darker. So this is the weather. Now this is time for you all to be keeping safe and keeping yourself warm as well. Wrap up yourself too. The winter is creeping in. And meanwhile, I take this opportunity, would like to thank all our members, those who have been supporting the center despite of such a difficult time of pandemic. There are many members, those who've been coming regularly to help the center and provide the food to the center. Particularly, I would like to name them, that the Rudy, Tim, Pani, and Jaydev, they are, and his family are coming almost every week, and they are coming to give food to the venerable monks and helping the center. And occasionally, in a weekly basis, David, Lena, Manuri, they have also took turns, and Varuni and Winnie, they have also took turns to drop off the food and other necessary things to the center. So I really appreciate your all supports, and Bruce as well. From locally, they have been supporting so much, coming to the temple and giving food to the monks, and also helping other necessaries. Meanwhile, other members, those who have listened the talks, also timely, and they are also dropping off foods and other supports to the center. So I would like to really appreciate and extend my appreciation to you all. Like this morning, one gentleman dropped by and dropped food, and also other members came to offer as a Saturday morning, like that. So with your all supports and help, the center is running smoothly, and all the monks are keeping well and keeping safe, and able to do the work, preaching and helping the center, looking after the center for you all. So I would like to thank you all for all your supports throughout the time, despite of this such a pandemic. And it's been already 1 week. We had a Katina ceremony, and still there are some members giving donations, part of the Katina ceremony as well, to support the center. So I really appreciate all the supports. Meanwhile, tomorrow, Sunday afternoon, we're going to work on the barn and the floor. Hopefully this week we will be working on that for some days. Okay? So, hello Yvonne, Sasi, Colin, and everyone. I hope you're all keeping well. As we and in Nepal also, the coronavirus is rapidly spreading, and in India and Myanmar as well, and again here in the UK as well. So there are so many lockdown rules are introduced during this time. Hello Emma, good evening. So, today I'm again going to speak on the last factor of the Eightfold Noble Path, which is the Samma Samadhi, the right concentration. And yesterday I have spoken on that particular ways, explaining that this was at the time of the Buddha, it was practiced as well. But from the scripture, what we know that the absorption or the deeper attainments were attained, but there weren't any name for those stages. And when the Buddha realized them, Buddha simply, named it and formalized. And with that attainment, he further, went up, across that stream and attained the enlightenment. So that's why the Sammasati is a very essential base for the enlightenment. These will help you to find the calmness and tranquility that we normally seek for, and that with that attainment, then we will be attaining the further enlightenment. Right? When we look at the sub-commentaries, particularly the very famous book known as The Path of Purification, which was written by Venerable Buddhaghosa around 400 years later, Buddha has passed away, as a commentary, sub-commentary on the Buddha's teachings, classifies or categorized the samadhis into 40 types. And among those 40 types of samadhis, or the meditation objects, if you go into detail, you will find plenty more in it. Yeah, plenty more meditation objects you will find there. It starts from basic devices, colors, elements, Brahma Viharas, and like that. So that's why I always take a view that doesn't matter what object you use, as long as you can use it faithfully with your dedication and makes your mind calm and peace and tranquil, then that object is okay. Yeah? So that's why there is no such things that that object or a meditation method belongs to this faith or that faith. And you can use any objects, just name it, whichever you like it. And the name, the color, the shape, any. You can use it for the meditation object. And that, again, the practice of a meditation is to get the concentration mind, or the calmness of the mind, or the peace, serenity of the mind. Yeah? So, in this particular book, it's categorized into 40 types of meditation. And within that 40 types of meditation, there are ways to practice. It's called 3 different ways to get the progress in the meditation. The first is known as the preliminary stage, okay, and that's called Parikamma Nimitta. Yeah? So that's the first one, is a Parikamma Nimitta. Now here, doesn't matter what object you pick, you have to have a shape, or you have to have a color, or you have to have a name. That's why it's called Nimitta, yeah? Parikamma Nimitta. Nimitta means the sign, and the Parikamma means the preliminary sign you need. And that basically you have defined an object to pay attention to. Because our mind always occurs with an object. If there is no object, our mind doesn't exist. So that's why we always have to have an object to have the mind. Okay? So in the first stage of the practice of a meditation, that's why we have to have a preliminary object. It's called the Parikamma Nimitta. Okay? In that, what happens is that we mentally visualize it, or mentally construct that object. Okay? And with visualizing or verbalizing or imagining that sign or the object is the first stage that we have to do. And with that first imaginary or the construction of the object, and that object is basically we have created to divert our attention from this wandering mind to a specific object of meditation. Or basically, our mind is always distracted. Our mind is always, lost into the thinkings, thoughts, and plannings, and worrying, and disturbed. And practice of a meditation is simply with our intention, we are simply diverting our attention to an object. And that object is we have created, construct. And that constructed object is known as parikamma nimitta, preliminary sign. When we have got the preliminary sign or the parikamma nimitta, it comes parikamma bhavana. And this is a preliminary method of the meditation. And in that case, once we have defined the object, once we have constructed the object, we basically remembering it again and again. Redoing it again, revisiting again, reviewing it again and again. It's called anusati. So going back to it again and again, revisiting on the object again and again. That's why it's called, noticing that object as long as you can. And then whenever mind distracts, you're coming back to that object again. And there are other ways of a practice in here as well. Like, you open suppose you're using the visual object or the sign. What you do is to look at the visual object, the shape of it, color of it, and then close your eyes. Imagining or imprinting that object and the color in your mind. Proximate size, proximate color of that, imprinting in our minds. And then open our eyes again and looking at that sign once more. So it's called bhavana, cultivation, so meditating. So basically now we are meditating by concentrating on one object. That's called parikamma bhavana. Parikamma bhavana. And with that, revisiting again and again, whether that is for the temporarily or whether that is for the longer period of time. But at the beginning of the meditation, you may have seen or may have observed or may have experienced that. Paying attention to the object that you have chosen can be done only for sometimes, a couple of times, and mind just distracts into the thoughts of the past or the worrying about the future. But this again, because we have an intention and a motivation to pay attention to that object, and we are revisiting again and again, reminding again and again, being mindful of that I have got this object to pay attention to, not the rest of other thoughts or the problems or any stories. Doesn't matter what happened in a few moments earlier, or doesn't matter what happened in this morning, or what's going to happen after an hour later or tomorrow. But you become mindful of the object that you have designated. And this is known as the momentary concentration. It's called Khanika Samadhi. Now here, you got the concentration or concentrated mind. Maybe it is just for certain seconds or maybe less than a second, but you got the concentration. Your mind is concentrating on the object, the shape, the color, the sound, the verb, the words. So this is known as a momentary concentration. So you're coming back to again and again until you see that object clearly. Yeah? Until you see that object clearly. So that's why don't worry. Be happy. Yeah? Don't worry saying that I cannot meditate. I can't concentrate on the object. How can I get the progress in the meditation? Do not worry. All what you need to remember that I have created this object and I'm going to revisit again and again. Like that. Yeah? It is like, when we were a very young, little child, we just started to walk. When we start walk, even one step we fell down. And then again we want to walk again, so we stand up, with the four hands and 2 hands and 2 legs and like a small dog, and then we slowly stand up and again start to walk. 1 or 2 steps and we again fall down. Do we give up trying walk? No. We continue try and try and try until we can walk a couple of steps. From couple of steps, we can walk freely and still not strong yet. Yeah? So that's why at this initial stage, we know that I want to walk. So we pursue walking again and again, despite of falling down. Right? So the revisit in the object is the practice of a meditation. So don't worry. Just I need to do. I need to revisit again. Revisiting, reviewing again. Remembering that object that you have created, that this is the object that I'm going to meditate on. That's all you need. Nothing more than that. Do not make it complicated in the practice of a meditation. If you try to make complicated, if you want to make yourself better than anybody else in the meditation, or want to demonstrate yourself that I am a meditator and you are not, I've been meditating this, then you lost the plot. Meditation is not for the demonstration. Meditation is not for, need to be progress and I need to be like, I am doing this. No. Meditation is learning to take control over our mind. Learning the state of the mind. So that's why at the initial stage, first you need to remember, create an object. Yeah. Second, remember that this object you're going to use and you are meditating on that object. And the third, you're revisiting again and again. And that's how you gain the first meditation, concentration meditation. It's called momentary concentration. You have a moment after moment remembering to pay attention to the object that you have created, whether it's a breath or whether any objects. But in my instruction, you will find I use only 2 objects, mostly. Okay, that is the breath or the abdomen. Okay? And that is the first stage to learn. Second one is called the Uggaha Nimitta. And here, what happens is that object that you have created, that you have constructed, is vaguely established in your mind. Whether you open your eyes or whether you close your eyes, you see that object. Not clearly yet, but at least you can see that. And with that, what happens is that your mind becomes used to with that object, and other hindrances that hinder your practice gradually subsides, suppressed. Gradually, it's known as 5 hindrances being suppressed, and with that you attain the second stage of concentration known as excess concentration, the Upachara Samadhi. Okay? And this Upachara Samadhi is basically you have good connection with the object and your mind is fully connected and you are about to attain the jhanas. that I explained yesterday, the first jhana, and the second, third, and a fourth, I'm going to explain following days. But before going into the jhanas, the introduction to these jhanas, I want to give you further, basic understanding of how the meditation increases or develops. Because yesterday someone said that it's very hard to meditate. So this is how you do gradual progress. Okay, and once you have got that excess concentration, what happens is that the object's imprints in your mind is known as a patibhaga nimitta. Patibhaga nimitta. So the object is fixed in your mind and able to extend or make it small. This object become your toy that you can play with that. So the objects become there is elasticity in that object that you can play with it, make it bigger, shorter, longer, like that. Okay? And with that stage, what happens is that you will have appana bhavana, means your mind is able to be with that object longer period of a time, or you can stay with that as long as you want. And with that is known as the attainment of the concentration. Now, this time you got a full attained concentration. Your mind is fully absorbed and ready to attain all the 4 jhanas. Right? Isn't that beautiful now? I hope it makes sense to you. Yeah? And this is the stage that your mind is able to be with the object, and the mind is fully absorbed into the object. At this moment, there is the only one thought is about the object. You're thinking, or your mind is sustained on that object, and with that it has produced the joy, rejoice, or rapture, happiness. Right? And then mind is fully concentrated, one-pointed or single-minded. It's known as exclusively with that object, or fixed concentration. Your mind is fully focused on that, being a one-pointedness. And that is the stage of the mind where you will find complete serenity, complete peace, complete happiness. And that is most of the time we are looking for. That is the stage that we should attain in the concentration meditation. Remember, in the concentration meditation. And there are 2 ways of going, and from there leads to the enlightenment practice called vipassana meditation. Now here, practice of a vipassana meditation, we can go in 2 ways. One, when we attain the momentary concentration, like we have a vaguely aware or understanding of the object, or object as just the foundation to settle the mind down, or the anchoring the mind, or meantime ability to understand the 3 nature or the 3 characteristics of the nature. That's the one way. And the second way is, once we have attained this attainment concentration, then we lifting ourselves, letting the senses to work, and letting the senses to connect and contact with the rest of other world. So eye sees the form, ear hears the sounds, tongue come to taste, so on. And then developing understanding the way things are. That's how we will move on to the vipassana meditation. But here we are talking about the right concentration, the samma samadhi. And so with this attainment concentration, we will attain the first jhana, and that is having the thought of the object fully completed. The mind is sustained with that, and we have a rapture and a happiness, and mind is fully tranquil and have an equanimous mind. Mind is singled minded, a single, one-pointed mind. That's the first stage of the jhanas that I mentioned yesterday or explained yesterday. Further on, 3 jhanas are basically, removing other parts from the first jhanas, and gradually will attain the 4th jhanas. And these jhanas as the base to get enlightenment as the second path towards the practice of insight meditation. So I end here for tonight, and I will continue from tomorrow again on this topic. So thank you everyone for listening, and may you all be well and happy, and may the Buddha Dhamma Sangha bless you for your good health and successful, and stay safe, take care, and after they attain this supreme Nibbana, free from all types of sufferings. Thank you, and in a few moments time we're going to have evening chanting and guided meditation. So until then, take care and good night. See you shortly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Sarala. Thank you, Margaret, Yvonne. Thank you, Manish. Thank you.